We begin with a single slow breath. Feel the air, impossibly cold and pure, as it fills your lungs. It is a sharpness that awakens every sense, a cold so profound it feels ancient. Here, on the vast polar plain of Antarctica, the world is reduced to its most essential elements: sky ice. The horizon is a seamless line where white, pale, luminous blue. There is no sound of traffic, no hum of distant cities, no birdsong. There is only the immense, overwhelming silence of a continent asleep under a blanket of ice that has been accumulating for millennia. This quiet is not empty. It is a presence, a heavy and watchful stillness that presses in from all sides, making you aware of your own heartbeat. Imagine standing in this endless expanse. The sun, a distant jewel in the sky, hangs low, casting long, ethereal shadows that stretch for miles across the snow. Every detail is magnified in the crystalline air. The tiny ice crystals on the surface glitter like a field of scattered diamonds. Your own shadow is a stark, lonely figure against the brilliant white. This is a place that redefines your sense of scale. The mountains you see in the distance might be a day's journey away, or they might be a week's. The sheer scale of the landscape is difficult for the human mind to fully comprehend, a world built for giants. This is Antarctica, the last true wilderness on our planet. It is a land of superlatives, coldest, driest, highest. It holds 90% of the world's ice and 70% of its fresh water, all locked away in a frozen vault. But it is more than just a repository of ice. It is a place of profound mystery, a land that guards its secrets fiercely beneath its frozen surface. To be here is to feel like an intruder, a temporary visitor in a realm that is timeless and indifferent to human presence. The silence here speaks volumes, telling tales of deep time and geological forces beyond our imagination. In this introductory act, we invite you to take this first step with us. We will move slowly, deliberately, allowing the atmosphere of this frozen world to envelop us. We will listen to the silence and try to decipher its whispers. This is not a journey of speed, but of patience and observation. We will walk gently across the ice, not as conquerors, but as humble guests. We are here to witness the stark beauty and the haunting emptiness of the planet's final frontier, a place that is as close to another world as we can get without leaving our own. Our journey into the haunted heart of Antarctica has just begun. Antarctica is a land defined by its extremes. The cold is a physical force. Temperatures can plummet to nearly 90 degrees below 0 Celsius. This cold can freeze exposed skin in seconds and can turn steel brittle. Katabatic winds are born in the high interior of the continent. Cold, dense air pours down the slopes of the ice sheet, accelerating to speeds that can exceed 200 miles per hour. These are not mere gusts. They are relentless rivers of air, powerful enough to scour the landscape and erase any sign of passage, shaping the ice into strange, wave-like formations. This continent is also a desert, the largest in the world. Despite the ice cover, it receives very little precipitation. The air is so cold it cannot hold much moisture. What little snow falls rarely melts. It accumulates over centuries and over millennia, compressing into colossal ice sheets. This ice is a library of Earth's history. Trapped within are bubbles of ancient air volcanic ash dust that provide a detailed climate record stretching back hundreds of thousands of years. To look at the ice is to look back through time. Yet the surface is not lifeless. Hidden life persists in unexpected places. Beneath thick ice shelves, in the perpetual darkness of the Southern Ocean, an astonishingly rich ecosystem thrives. Swarms of krill penguins, seals, great baleen whales. In subglacial lakes, buried under miles of ice, scientists have discovered microbial life isolated from the outside world for millions of years. These organisms survive in total darkness, under immense pressure, challenging where we think life can exist. This duality makes Antarctica compelling. Stark, visible emptiness on the surface conceals hidden vitality below. It appears static and unchanging, yet is in slow, powerful motion, glaciers grinding their way to the sea. Profound silence, yet it echoes with the planet's history and secret stirrings of resilient life. A land of contradictions, a frozen desert teeming with unseen wonders, ancient ghosts, waiting to be discovered by those patient enough to look and to listen. Our exploration will be a slow, meditative journey. We will not rush through this magnificent landscape. Instead, we will let its scale and its silence dictate our pace. My voice will be your guide, a steady and calm presence in this vast emptiness. It will be a husky, quiet narration, like a story told around a campfire on a cold night. We will move as if on foot, feeling the crunch of snow under our boots, witnessing the subtle shifts of light on the ice, listening to the whispers of the wind. This is an invitation to walk slowly across both ice and time, to immerse yourself completely in the spirit of this place. The journey ahead is divided into 3 distinct acts, each exploring a different facet of Antarctica's haunted heart. Our first act is the White Desert and its ghosts. We will traverse immense ice shelves. We will navigate treacherous crevasses. We will experience disorienting optical illusions. We will hear haunting sounds created by unique atmospheric conditions. We will encounter abandoned huts of early explorers. We will encounter ghostly shipwrecks locked in the sea ice. From the surface, we will descend in our second act, hidden life beneath the ice. We go below the frozen ceiling into the dark, liquid Southern Ocean. Using stunning underwater footage, we will witness the surreal beauty of life that flourishes in the extreme cold. We will float through colossal swarms of krill. We will encounter bioluminescent creatures. We will learn about discoveries from subglacial lakes where life has evolved in isolation for eons. It is a journey into an alien world that exists right here on Earth. Finally, our third act, geological wonders and strange landscapes. We will explore the McMurdo Dry Valleys, landscapes so barren and lifeless they resemble the surface of Mars. We will visit active volcanic islands steaming amidst the ice. We will walk across fields of ancient blue ice where meteorites have collected over thousands of years. This act reveals Antarctica as a geological marvel, completing our slow walk through this haunted and truly wondrous land. We find ourselves now on one of Antarctica's great ice shelves. Imagine a plain of ice so vast it dwarfs entire countries, stretching from the landmass far out over the ocean. This is not solid ground, but a floating extension of the continental ice sheet, hundreds of meters thick. It rises and falls with the tides, a reminder of the powerful ocean breathing beneath. The surface looks featureless, but this simplicity is deceptive. Raking light reveals texture. A frozen river the size of France moves in slow motion towards the sea, a journey that can take 1,000 years. The scale is almost impossible to process. No trees, no buildings, no familiar landmarks. A distant mountain range that seems close may actually be hundreds of kilometers away. You are a tiny speck among endless horizontal lines. The silence is profound. but not absolute. Stand still and listen. You can hear the ice itself. It groans, it creaks, a deep, resonant sound travelling for miles. Fractures open as immense tension is released. This is where the continent meets the sea. The shelf is not uniform, scarred by fractures, carved by pressure ridges. From the air, these make intricate, wrinkle-like patterns. At the edge, the shelf forms a sheer cliff, sometimes 50 meters high. Colossal pieces break away in calving events, spawning tabular icebergs that drift through the Southern Ocean, some as large as a small city. Walking here is like walking on another planet. The sky is a piercing cobalt. The low sun is intensely bright, reflecting off the snow with a blinding glare. Sunglasses are essential. White, blue, long, purple shadows. Serene and intimidating, the landscape reminds you of your fragility before nature's slow-moving power. The silence of the ice shelf is a fragile thing, often shattered by the arrival of the katabatic winds. These are not ordinary winds. They are a defining force of Antarctica. They are born in the high, frozen interior of the continent, where the air, cooled by the ice sheet, becomes incredibly dense. Gravity then takes hold, pulling this heavy air down the steep slopes of the polar plateau. As it descends, it accelerates, funneling through valleys and across the open ice with ferocious, unstoppable power. These winds can appear suddenly, transforming a calm, silent day into a maelstrom of blinding snow and unimaginable cold in a matter of minutes. When the katabatic wind blows, the world disappears. The air fills with a torrent of fine, sharp ice crystals scoured from the surface, a phenomenon known as a whiteout. The distinction between sky and ground vanishes completely. All you can see is a swirling, uniform whiteness in every direction. There is no horizon, no shadow, no sense of up or down. To be caught in such a storm is to be utterly disoriented, lost in a sensory void. The wind howls with a sound that is not just a whistle, but a deep, guttural roar, a scream that seems to emanate from the ice itself. It is a sound that gets inside you, vibrating through your bones. Early explorers wrote of the psychological toll these winds took. They spoke of the wind as a malevolent entity, a living thing that clawed at their tents and tried to tear the warmth from their bodies. They described the haunting sounds it made, the high-pitched shrieks and low moans that sounded like tortured voices crying out in the wilderness. In the constant disorienting roar, some men claimed to hear things. The whispers of their names, the phantom ringing of bells, or the distant cries of a ship's crew. The wind plays tricks on the mind, turning the empty landscape into a place filled with ghostly presences. These winds are the sculptors of Antarctica. They carve the snow into long parallel ridges called sastrugi, which can be meters high and razor-sharp, making travel incredibly difficult. They polish the exposed rock of the mountains until it shines like dark glass. They are a constant reminder of the raw, untamable power of this continent. The katabatic wind is the angry spirit of the White Desert, a relentless force that scours the landscape clean, erases all tracks, and ensures that nothing temporary can last. To survive, it is to have experienced the full, untempered fury of the planet's most extreme environment. In the moments of stillness between the winds, the Antarctic air plays a different kind of trick on the senses. The extreme cold creates unique atmospheric conditions where layers of air at different temperatures bend and distort light. This gives rise to a particular kind of mirage known as a fata morgana. It transforms the distant horizon into a shifting, ethereal landscape of fantastical shapes. What you see is not what is truly there, a phantom world, a shimmering illusion painted on the cold air. These are not the simple heat-haze mirages of a hot desert. A Fata Morgana is far more complex and dramatic. It can make distant icebergs or distant mountains appear to float high above the horizon. It can stretch and compress objects, a small block of ice becoming a towering skyscraper, a distant mountain range flattened into a long wall. Sometimes it creates inverted images, an upside-down mountain peak hanging in the sky above the real one. The effect is profoundly disorienting and surreal. Early explorers were frequently deceived. They would chart coastlines that did not exist, set out toward mountains that vanished as they approached, and phantom lands would appear on maps only to be erased later. The Fata Morgana lent the continent an air of enchantment and treachery. These visions could be beautiful, shimmering cities of ice on the horizon, but also dangerous, luring sailors toward non-existent harbours or passages. Even today, the effect is unsettling. To see the world warp is to have your sense of reality challenged. The solid landscape becomes fluid and unreliable. You can watch a distant iceberg fold into a perfect archway, then a castle with towering spires, before dissolving back into formless shimmer. The Fata Morgana is a reminder that in Antarctica, even your own eyes cannot be trusted. The line between the real and unreal is constantly blurring, adding to the continent's haunted character. As we move across the ice, we must be aware of another hidden danger, the crevasse. These are deep, often vertical cracks in the ice sheet, formed by the stresses of its movement. While some are vast, open chasms, many of the most dangerous are hidden from view. They are covered by a fragile bridge of wind-blown snow, which can look identical to the solid ice all around it. A single misplaced step can cause this bridge to collapse, plunging a person or a vehicle into the frozen depths below. The crevasse is the silent predator of the ice sheet, a beautiful but deadly trap waiting for the unwary. Looking down into an open crevasse is like peering into another world. The light that filters down from the surface is transformed by the dense, ancient ice. The walls glow with an ethereal, otherworldly blue. This is not the pale blue of the sky, but a deep, luminous sapphire that seems to radiate its own light. The further down you look, the deeper and darker the blue becomes, eventually fading into a blackness that seems to have no bottom. The air within the crevasse is perfectly still and silent, a stark contrast to the wind that may be blowing on the surface. It is a place of profound frozen beauty. The beauty, however, conceals an immense danger. These fissures can be hundreds of feet deep. Falling into one is often a fatal event. Those who survive the fall face a desperate struggle in an environment of extreme cold and darkness. The smooth, icy walls are almost impossible to climb. The silence from within is absolute. Shouts for help are swallowed by the ice. Explorers have written about the terrifying sound a snow bridge makes just before it gives way. A soft, whispering sigh or a sudden, sharp crack. It is the sound of the ice claiming a victim, a whisper that promises a sudden descent into the cold blue heart of the glacier. Navigating a crevassed area requires immense skill and caution. Modern expeditions use ground-penetrating radar to detect these hidden voids beneath the surface. For early explorers, the only method was to probe the snow ahead of them with long poles, a slow and nerve-wracking process. They would rope themselves together, so that if one person fell, the others might be able to save them. This constant threat of a sudden, silent disappearance added a heavy psychological burden to their journeys. Every step was taken with the knowledge that the solid ground beneath their feet might be an illusion, a thin crust over a beautiful, bottomless grave. Amidst the vast, natural emptiness of Antarctica, the most haunting sights are often the traces of human presence. Scattered along the coastline are the simple wooden huts built by the first heroic-era explorers over a century ago. Men like Captain Scott, men like Shackleton, used these small, fragile shelters as bases for their epic and often tragic journeys towards the South Pole. Today, these huts stand as lonely, silent monuments. The extreme cold and dry air have preserved them in a state of near-perfect suspension. To step inside one is to step back in time, into a moment that has been frozen for 100 years. The scene inside is intimate and profoundly ghostly. It is as if the inhabitants have just stepped out for a moment and will return at any second. Tins of food, their labels still legible, line the shelves. A pair of worn leather boots sits by a stove that has long gone cold. On a table, a scientific journal lies open, its pages filled with neat, handwritten notes detailing weather observations, notes detailing geological findings. A half-finished game of chess rests on a crate, the pieces waiting for a move that will never be made. The air is still, thick with the silence of decades. You can almost smell the faint, lingering scent of coal smoke and old wool. Every object tells a story of survival. Every object tells a story of hope. Every object tells a story of hardship. You see the crude bunks where the men slept, packed tightly together for warmth. You see the dark room where the expedition's photographer, Herbert Ponting, developed his iconic images, capturing a world no one had ever seen. You see the makeshift laboratory where scientists studied penguins and rock samples, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge in the harshest conditions imaginable. Scientists studying penguins, scientists examining rock samples. These huts were not just shelters, they were tiny outposts of civilization. They were outposts of science. They were outposts of human spirit, clinging precariously to the edge of a hostile continent. Standing in this silence, it is impossible not to feel the presence of the men who lived and worked here. They are ghosts in the truest sense. Their ambitions, their fears, their daily routines imprinted on the very fabric of the place. You think of Captain Scott, writing his final heartbreaking letters in his tent just miles from safety. You think of Shackleton's crew, waiting and hoping for a rescue that seemed impossible. These huts are not just historical artifacts. They are shrines. They are deeply moving testaments to the courage and fragility of human life in the face of the overwhelming power of the Antarctic wilderness. Far from the land, deep beneath the shifting sea ice of the Weddell Sea, lies another kind of ghost. This is the wreck of the Endurance, Sir Ernest Shackleton's famous ship. In 1915, during his attempt to cross the continent, the ship became trapped in the pack ice. For 10 months it was held in a relentless, crushing grip. The crew could only watch as the immense pressure of the ice slowly, violently broke their vessel apart. The ship was a living thing to them, their home, their only link to the world they had left behind. They watched as its timbers groaned, splintered, finally snapped before it slipped beneath the ice and vanished. The loss of the Endurance was the beginning of one of the greatest survival stories of all time. Shackleton and his 27 men were stranded on the moving ice, thousands of miles from help. But the ghost of their lost ship haunted their journey. It represented their initial failure, but it also became a symbol of what they had endured. For over a century, The wreck's location was a mystery, its final resting place unknown, swallowed by the most treacherous sea in the world. It was a legend, a lost treasure of polar history, presumed lost forever in the dark, freezing abyss. Then, in 2022, a modern expedition achieved the unthinkable. Using advanced underwater drones, they found the Endurance. It was sitting upright on the seabed more than 3,000 meters below the surface. The images they sent back were astonishing. The ship was almost perfectly preserved by the cold, dark, oxygen-poor water. The wood was not rotted. The ship's name, Endurance, was still clearly visible in gold lettering across the stern. You could see the ship's wheel, the anchor boot's crockery, lying on the deck. It was not a ruin. It was a ghost ship, resting in silent dignity at the bottom of the world. To see these images is to see a ghost made real. The wreck is not just a collection of wood and brass, it is a direct physical link to Shackleton and his men. It is a time capsule from the heroic age of exploration, undisturbed for over 100 years. Its discovery brings the story full circle, a final, poignant chapter to an epic tale of survival. The Endurance, which once carried the hopes of explorers, now rests as a silent, frozen monument in the haunted heart of Antarctica, a testament to the crushing power of the ice and the indomitable spirit of those who dared to challenge it. Section 1. The Frozen Ceiling, descending into the Southern Ocean. Our journey now takes us from the vast white world above to the hidden realm below. We leave the wind-scoured surface and the blinding glare of the sun behind. We descend through the ice itself into the dark, liquid heart of the Southern Ocean. From below, the ice shelf becomes a ceiling, a colossal, uneven canopy of frozen white and brilliant blue. This is the boundary between two worlds. Light filters down through cracks and through seal holes, sending ethereal shafts of turquoise and green plunging into the depths. A cathedral of ice, silent and majestic. Its scale is overwhelming from below. The water here is clearer and colder than anywhere else on Earth, temperatures just below freezing. That clarity lets you see astonishing distances, but reveals an alien, strange world. The underside is a chaotic, sculpted landscape of valleys and peaks, a mirror of the surface above. Great chandeliers of ice crystals hang down, delicate, intricate, growing slowly in super-chilled brine. Perpetual twilight, light and landscape inverted, disorienting and wondrous. Life appears in surprising forms. The ice is not barren. The lower few meters are laced with tiny channels filled with salty brine. Within this frozen labyrinth, algae and diatoms thrive. In spring and summer, they bloom, coloring the underside green, then gold. These are the meadows of the inverted world, the foundation of the marine ecosystem. As we drift deeper, away from the ice glow, the world transforms. Light fades fast. Vibrant blues and greens give way to deep indigo. We enter a realm of immense pressure and eternal darkness, a vast, mostly unexplored world. This is the true abyss, once thought lifeless. But the darkness is not empty. It is filled with secret, strange and beautiful creatures, and a vitality that defies the crushing cold and the absence of sunlight. Section 2. The Krill Swarm, a pink cloud of life. As we descend into the twilight zone of the Southern Ocean, we encounter one of the planet's greatest spectacles of life. At first, it appears as a faint, pinkish haze in the distance, a shimmering cloud in the deep blue. As we draw closer, the cloud resolves into individual points of light and movement. This is a swarm of Antarctic krill, tiny shrimp-like crustaceans, each only a few centimeters long. But there are not thousands, or even millions of them. There are billions. The swarm is so dense it appears as a single superorganism, a living, breathing entity that can stretch for kilometers across the ocean. This single swarm can contain more biomass than a city full of people. The total weight of all the krill in Antarctica is estimated to be greater than the total weight of all the humans on Earth. They are the cornerstone of the Antarctic food web, the vital link between the microscopic algae they feed on and the larger animals that depend on them. The water is thick with their bodies, a blizzard of tiny, translucent forms, their dark eyes like millions of pinpricks in the gloom. They move in unison, a coordinated, pulsing dance that flows and eddies like a river of life through the cold, dark water. Floating in the midst of this living cloud is a surreal and humbling experience. The sheer abundance of life is breathtaking. The only sound is a faint, crackling static, the collective noise of billions of tiny crustaceans feeding and moving around you. They are the engine of this ocean, converting the sun's energy, captured by the ice algae, into a mobile feast that fuels the entire ecosystem. Penguins, seals, fish, the blue whale, all depend entirely on this tiny, humble creature. Without the krill, the great wilderness of the Southern Ocean would fall silent. The krill swarms are also a key part of the continent's haunted, mysterious nature. Their presence is ephemeral. These vast clouds can appear and disappear with the currents and seasons, making them a ghostly and unpredictable resource for the animals that hunt them. Their location is a secret passed down through generations of whales and penguins. For human observers, finding them is a challenge, and their sheer numbers in this otherwise empty-seeming ocean feel like a miracle. They are a reminder that even in the most extreme environments, life doesn't just survive. It can flourish on a scale that beggars belief. Section 3. The bioluminescent abyss. Light in the endless dark. As we sink deeper beyond the last reach of the sun, we enter a world of absolute blackness. Here, 3,000 meters below the surface, the pressure is immense, the cold is constant. Yet, the darkness is not complete. It is punctuated by sudden, fleeting flashes of living light. This is the realm of bioluminescence, where creatures have evolved the extraordinary ability to produce their own light. It is a silent, ghostly firework display in the abyss. A secret language of sparks glows shimmering trails spoken by the inhabitants of the deep. This is life creating its own stars in the inner space of the ocean. The sources of this light are varied and wondrous. Strange, gelatinous comb jellies drift past, cilia refracting the light into pulsing rainbows of colour. Deep-sea squid release glowing clouds of ink to startle predators before vanishing into the black. Anglerfish, with their monstrous jaws, dangle a luminous lure, a single hypnotic point of light that draws unsuspecting prey towards a fatal embrace. Each species has developed its own unique pattern and colour of light, used for hunting, used for defence, used for finding a mate in the endless night. This cold, living light adds a profoundly eerie quality to the deep ocean. It is a world of phantoms. A long, string-like creature known as a siphonophore drifts by like a glowing serpent, its individual bells pulsing with a soft blue light. A sudden flash might reveal the terrifying tooth-filled grin of a dragonfish for just a fraction of a second before it disappears again. You are surrounded by life, but you can only see it in brief, tantalizing glimpses. The darkness conceals more than it reveals, and your imagination is left to fill in the terrifying or beautiful shapes that lurk just beyond the edge of the light. This ability to create light is not just a curiosity. It is a fundamental tool for survival in an environment where there is no other source. It is the language of the abyss, a complex system of signals that governs the interactions of this hidden ecosystem. For us as observers, it is a hauntingly beautiful spectacle. It is a reminder that life finds a way, that even in the most crushing, lightless and hostile conditions imaginable, it can evolve to create its own beauty, its own communication, and its own ghostly, ephemeral light. It is the hidden, secret pulse of the planet's deepest heart. Section 4. Giants of the Deep. The whale's hidden kingdom. The Southern Ocean is a kingdom of giants. It is the primary feeding ground for many of the world's great whales, who migrate thousands of miles to feast on the incredible abundance of krill during the Antarctic summer. Here, in the cold, nutrient-rich waters, we can witness the largest animal ever to have lived on our planet, the blue whale. To encounter one of these creatures in its element is a truly humbling experience. It is a being of almost mythical proportions, longer than 3 buses with a heart the size of a small car. It moves with a slow, effortless grace that belies its immense size. These giants are often heard before they're seen. The ocean is filled with their deep, resonant songs. These are the most powerful sounds made by any animal, low-frequency calls that can travel for hundreds, even thousands of miles through the water. It is a complex and mournful music, a chorus of moans, groans, pulses that fills the vast, empty spaces of the ocean. For a long time, the source of these sounds was a mystery. Sailors heard them through the hulls of their ships and attributed them to sea monsters, ghosts. We now know it is the language of whales, a deep and ancient conversation that echoes through the abyss. Other giants share this realm. Humpback whales, famous for their acrobatic breaches, employ a clever hunting strategy, here known as bubble net feeding. A group of whales will swim in a circle beneath a krill swarm, blowing bubbles as they rise. This creates a circular net of bubbles that corrals the krill into a dense ball. The whales then surge up through the center of the net, their mouths wide open, engulfing thousands of kilograms of krill in a single gulp. It is a remarkable display of intelligence, cooperation, power, a perfectly choreographed dance performed by some of the planet's largest creatures. The whales of Antarctica are also ghosts of a different sort. They are survivors. Many species, including the blue whale, were hunted to the very brink of extinction in the 20th century. Their numbers are now slowly recovering, but their presence here is a poignant reminder of both humanity's destructive power, nature's incredible resilience. To see them thriving once more in their ancestral feeding grounds is to witness a recovery of epic proportions. They are the returning kings of this hidden kingdom, their songs a sign of hope, a powerful, living pulse in the haunted, life-giving waters of the South. Our journey beneath the ice now leads us to one of Antarctica's most bizarre and unsettling geological features. From the stark white face of the Taylor Glacier, in one of the continent's dry valleys, a gruesome-looking stain pours out onto the ice of the lake below. It is a cascade of deep, blood-red water, a stark and shocking contrast to the pristine white of the surrounding landscape. This is Blood Falls. For decades, its origin was a mystery. It looked as though the glacier itself was bleeding, a visceral and disturbing image that gave the place a deeply haunted reputation. as if it were the site of some ancient unhealed wound. The truth is, in a way, even stranger. The source of the falls is a subglacial lake, trapped beneath the Taylor Glacier for at least 1.5 million years. This water has been completely cut off from the atmosphere and from sunlight for all that time. It has no oxygen and is incredibly rich in salt and iron, which it has leached from the bedrock below. The water is a brine so salty it does not freeze, even at the extreme temperatures beneath the glacier. Periodically, under immense pressure, this ancient water finds a fissure and forces its way to the surface. The dramatic red color appears only at the moment the water is exposed to the outside world. When the iron-rich water comes into contact with the oxygen in the atmosphere for the first time in over 1 million years, it instantly oxidizes or rusts. This is the exact same process that gives blood its red color when it is exposed to air. We are not witnessing a wound, but a chemical reaction. A sudden and dramatic transformation of ancient water meeting the modern world. The falls are a visible outlet for a hidden subterranean world that has been sealed away since the Pleistocene epoch. Most astonishingly, this ancient trapped oxygen-free brine is not sterile. Scientists have discovered that it is teeming with microbial life. These are not just dormant bacteria, but a functioning ecosystem of microorganisms that have evolved in complete isolation, in total darkness, and without oxygen. They survive by metabolizing the iron and sulfur in the water, a form of life so alien it seems to belong on another planet. Blood Falls is more than just a geological curiosity. It is a portal. It gives us a glimpse of a lost world and proves that life can persist in conditions we once thought were utterly impossible. Deep in the heart of the Antarctic interior, buried beneath nearly 4 kilometers of solid ice, lies the continent's greatest secret. It is a body of liquid water the size of Lake Ontario, one of the largest lakes on Earth. This is Lake Vostok. It has been sealed off from the rest of the world for at least 15 million years, a pristine environment trapped in time and darkness. The weight of the ice above creates immense pressure, and the geothermal heat from the Earth's core below keeps the water from freezing. It is the largest, oldest, and most mysterious of Antarctica's hundreds of subglacial lakes. For decades, scientists knew of its existence through radar surveys, but its contents remained a complete mystery. It represented a true frontier of exploration, a place as inaccessible and unknown as a distant moon. Drilling down to it posed an enormous challenge. Scientists had to devise methods to penetrate 4 kilometers of ice without contaminating the pristine lake water below with surface microbes or drilling fluids. The ice core, drilled just above the lake, has provided a climate record stretching back over 400,000 years. But the lake itself remained an untouched, tantalizing enigma, a lost world waiting to be discovered. In 2012, after years of effort, a Russian research team finally breached the surface of the lake. They retrieved samples of freshly frozen lake water from the bottom of the borehole, giving humanity its first taste of this ancient hidden world. The analysis of this water and of the life within it is one of the most exciting fields of modern science. Early findings suggest the presence of a diverse range of microbial life, organisms that have evolved in complete isolation for millions of years. They are living fossils, a potential treasure trove of unique genetic information and bizarre evolutionary pathways. Lake Vostok is more than just a scientific curiosity. It is a powerful symbol of the unknown. It represents the idea that even on our own planet, There are vast, unexplored worlds, places that hold secrets we are only just beginning to comprehend. It is also seen as an analogue for life on other worlds. If life can exist here, cold, dark, high pressure, sealed beneath miles of ice, could it not also exist in the subsurface oceans of Jupiter's moon Europa or Saturn's moon Enceladus? Lake Vostok is a ghost of what might be, a hidden ocean on Earth that fuels our search for hidden oceans elsewhere in the cosmos. Our 30-minute journey across the haunted heart of Antarctica is now drawing to a close. We have travelled from the blinding horizontal world of the ice shelves to the secret liquid realm beneath them, and finally to the strange rocky landscapes that defy the continent's frozen reputation. We began with a single slow breath in the great white silence, and it is to that silence we now return. But it is no longer an empty quiet. It is a silence that now echoes with the stories we have uncovered, filled with the ghosts of explorers, the whispers of the wind, and the deep, resonant songs of whales far below the ice. The continent feels different now, not barren, but layered with history, life, and mystery. We have learned that Antarctica is a land of profound dualities. It is a place of overwhelming presence and startling absence. It is the most lifeless-looking place on Earth, yet it supports a marine ecosystem of staggering abundance. It appears static, a world locked in ice, yet it is in constant, powerful motion, its glaciers grinding and its ice shelves breathing with the tide. It is a continent of blinding light and perpetual darkness, of fiery volcanoes and eternal ice. This journey has not been about finding definitive answers, but about learning to appreciate these contradictions, to see the beauty and the meaning in a landscape that is both a living, breathing system and a vast, frozen museum. Our time here is over. The sun hangs low on the horizon, casting one last long shadow across the snow. The colours of the sunset are fading, the brilliant oranges and pinks giving way to the soft, deep violet of the polar twilight. The air grows colder, the silence deeper. We take one final slow breath, feeling the sharp, pure air, an experience that now feels familiar, almost like a farewell. The images of our journey flicker in the mind's eye. The glowing blue of a crevasse, the haunting interior of an explorer's hut, the pink cloud of a krill swarm, the fiery peak of Mount Erebus against the ice. Each image is a piece of the puzzle, a single note in the continent's grand, silent symphony. The lasting impression is one of scale. The sheer, mind-bending scale of the ice, the sky, and the ocean. The scale of geological time measured in millions of years. And the scale of life's tenacity, from the microscopic to the colossal. This is a place that puts human existence into perspective. A reminder of how small and temporary we are in the grand scheme of the planet's history. Yet, it is also a place that highlights the immense impact our small species can have, a place where our actions in cities thousands of miles away are felt in the melting of its ancient ice. It is a landscape of profound humility and profound responsibility. Now the view begins to soften. The details of the landscape, the sharp edges of the sastrugi, the distant peaks of the mountains all begin to blur. The horizon dissolves. The distinction between the ice and the sky disappears once more. We are left with a uniform field of white, the same overwhelming luminous void that greeted us at the beginning of our journey. It is a fade to white, a slow erasure of the world, returning the continent to its essential, mysterious self. The screen is wiped clean, but the impressions it has left on our minds remain indelible and deep. The silence is now absolute. But this silence is no longer empty. It is a canvas onto which we project our memories, our questions, and our sense of wonder. The haunted heart of Antarctica continues to beat, its secrets locked safely away beneath the ice, its ghosts whispering on the wind. It does not ask for us to return, but it invites us to remember, to listen carefully to the echoes it sends out into the world, and to understand that even when we are far away, this vast, white, silent continent is still there, at the bottom of the world, breathing slowly in the dark, waiting.